Have you ever noticed how everyone talks about getting out of your comfort zone? It sounds good in theory, but when you're actually faced with something difficult or new, your immediate reaction is probably to pull back, to seek what's familiar and safe. We're wired to avoid discomfort, to protect ourselves from stress and struggle. It's a deep-seated survival mechanism, telling us to stay safe, even when safety means stagnation. So when life throws a big challenge your way, your natural instinct is to either run from it or wish it would just disappear. But here's the interesting part. If growth truly happens outside our comfort zone, then why do we so actively resist the very things that are meant to help us grow? Why do the most profound transformations often emerge from the most painful experiences? What hidden power lies within these moments that we instinctively push away? What is it about challenges that forces us to become more, even when every fiber of our being wants to shrink away? Could it be that the challenges we dread are precisely what we need to truly discover our strength and purpose? Perhaps the very things that make us uncomfortable hold the key to unlocking our true potential. You see, we tend to view these tough moments as purely negative, like a punishment or an unfair burden. We feel stuck, resentful, and sometimes even broken. That nagging voice inside us tells us to play it safe, to choose the path of least resistance, convincing us that true happiness lies in avoiding all struggle. We believe that if only we could bypass these difficulties, our lives would be smoother, easier, and more successful. This isn't just about you or me. This is a deeply human tendency, a universal struggle we all face. We are all built to seek comfort and avoid pain. It's a basic survival instinct that has guided us for millennia. From our earliest ancestors seeking warmth and shelter to our modern lives pursuing convenience, this drive is fundamental. Yet, ironically, it can also be the biggest barrier to the kind of growth that truly enriches our lives. But what if that very instinct, while keeping us safe in the short term, is actually holding us back from something much bigger? What if the avoidance of struggle is precisely what prevents true growth? Today, we're going to embark on an exploration of a profound truth, a truth forged not in comfort, but in the deepest imaginable suffering. We'll delve into the insights of Viktor Frankl. He was a man who survived the Nazi concentration camps and went on to become one of the most influential thinkers of the 20th century. His extraordinary experience and his revolutionary ideas, they offer a unique lens through which to understand why challenges aren't just obstacles to be endured, but actually, well, the very fuel for our growth journey. So stay with me, because what Frankl discovered has the potential to completely change how you view every setback, every struggle, and every moment of discomfort in your life. You'll come to see why the very things we dread are often the most powerful pathways to becoming the strongest, most purposeful version of ourselves. To truly grasp Frankl's ideas, we must first understand the crucible in which they were forged. Imagine losing everything, not just your home, your job, your possessions, but your entire family, your freedom, your dignity, and even your name. This was the reality for Viktor Frankl. From 1942 to 1945, he was imprisoned in 4 different Nazi concentration camps, including Auschwitz and Dachau. He endured forced labor, starvation, brutal cold, disease, and the constant threat of death. He watched his parents, his brother, and his pregnant wife perish. He was stripped bare, reduced to a number, and subjected to unimaginable cruelty, in a place where hope seemed not just lost, but utterly absurd. Frankl sought to understand what truly allows a human spirit to endure. In such an environment, where every moment was a struggle for survival, where hope seemed absurd, and where human life was treated as utterly expendable, you might expect people to simply give up, to crumble under the weight of such immense suffering. And many did. But Frankl, a trained psychiatrist, observed something extraordinary. Amidst the unspeakable horrors, he saw some prisoners, against all odds, find a reason to carry on. They might share a last piece of bread, offer comfort to a dying comrade, or silently recite a prayer. They found small, almost imperceptible ways to resist the complete dehumanization. It was in these moments that Frankl began to formulate his groundbreaking theory, that even in the face of absolute despair, human beings possess an innate capacity to find meaning. His experience wasn't just about survival. It was a living experiment, a brutal test of what it truly means to be human and how our spirit can rise, even when everything else collapses. It showed him that our ability to grow and transcend our circumstances isn't just a nice idea, it's a fundamental part of who we are, even when everything else is taken away. This observation led Frankl to develop what he called logotherapy. It's a term that comes from the Greek word logos, which means meaning. Logotherapy, at its heart, is about helping people find meaning in their lives. Frankl believed that our primary driving force isn't pleasure, as Freud suggested, or even power, as Adler proposed. Instead, our deepest human desire is to find purpose and meaning. This will to meaning, that's what truly motivates us. Think about it for a moment. Have you ever felt a sense of emptiness, even when things are otherwise good? Maybe you have a stable job, loving relationships, and all your basic needs are met, but still, a quiet feeling of restlessness or unfulfillment often lingers. This isn't about ingratitude. It's about a deeper yearning that material comforts alone just can't satisfy. You see, this often happens when we're missing a clear sense of purpose. We might chase after more money, more possessions, or more fleeting pleasures, only to find that the void remains. This is exactly what Frankl points to. Without meaning, even comfort can feel hollow. Imagine someone who's achieved tremendous material success. A big house, fancy cars, the freedom to do whatever they want. On the surface, their life might look perfect. But if they wake up each day without a clear why, without a sense of contribution, or a project to really dedicate themselves to, that success can, well, it can feel like a gilded cage. Their life might be smooth and easy, yes, but it lacks direction. It lacks a core reason for getting up in the morning, beyond just maintaining their comfortable existence. In stark contrast, though, think of someone who faces significant hardship, but has a burning passion or a clear goal. Maybe it's caring for a loved one, or fighting for a cause, or pursuing a challenging creative endeavor. This person, despite their struggles, often exhibits a profound sense of purpose and fulfillment. They have a reason to endure, a reason to grow. Frankl, he argued that this search for meaning isn't a luxury for times of ease. No, it's a fundamental human need that becomes even more vital when we face our greatest challenges. It's what gives our lives direction and keeps us going, even when every instinct tells us to give up. So, if finding meaning is our deepest drive, where do we find it, especially when life seems to be falling apart? This brings us to one of Frankl's most challenging yet liberating insights. Meaning can be found even, and sometimes especially, in suffering. This is a difficult idea for us to accept, isn't it? We're taught to avoid pain at all costs, to see suffering as purely negative, something to be eliminated or escaped. Our entire modern society is often geared towards minimizing discomfort, from quick fixes to endless distractions. But Frankl argued that when we can't change a situation, when we're truly powerless over external events, we are challenged to change ourselves, to find a deeper, more resilient response from within. Suffering, he said, ceases to be suffering at the moment it finds a meaning. How does this work? When we're stripped of our usual comforts and distractions, when we're truly up against the wall, we're forced to confront ourselves. We're forced to ask deeper questions. What truly matters? What kind of person will I be in this moment? What can I learn from this? Think about someone who experiences a sudden, life-altering illness or a significant loss. Initially, there's immense pain, anger, and grief. But for many, this crucible eventually leads to a profound shift in perspective. Priorities change. Small joys become more significant. Relationships deepen. They might discover inner strengths they never knew they possessed. They might find a new purpose in helping others who face similar struggles. turning their own pain into a source of connection and contribution. The pain remained a very real part of their journey, but the meaning they discovered transformed their relationship to that pain, turning it into a source of profound wisdom and renewed purpose. This isn't about glorifying pain or suggesting that we should seek out hardship. No one wishes for suffering, but Frankl's point is that suffering is an unavoidable part of the human condition. It will find us, whether we like it or not. The true growth comes not from avoiding it, but from our response to it. Those who found meaning in the concentration camps, perhaps by clinging to the memory of a loved one, by offering a word of comfort to another prisoner, or by secretly trying to complete a mental manuscript, they were not denying their suffering. They were transforming it. They found a why that allowed them to bear almost any how. This crucial idea leads us directly to perhaps Frankl's most powerful teaching: the incredible freedom we possess, even in the most restricted circumstances. This brings us to a truth that can feel both incredibly empowering and immensely challenging. Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms: to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. This was Frankl's most profound realization within the camps. Even when his body was starving, his future was uncertain, and his every movement was controlled. He realized that no one could take away his inner freedom, his ability to decide how he would respond to the suffering imposed upon him. Now, imagine two people facing the exact same devastating setback. Let's say a significant business failure that wipes out years of hard work and savings. One person might become completely consumed by bitterness, resentment, and a sense of victimhood. They might retreat, blame everyone else, and fall into a deep depression, completely convinced that their life is over. The other person, feeling the exact same initial shock and pain, might consciously choose a different path. They might grieve, yes, but then ask themselves, what can I learn from this? What new opportunities might arise from this ending? How can I use this experience to become stronger or more resourceful? They might see it not as the end of their story, but as a difficult, painful chapter that will ultimately teach them invaluable lessons. This choice is not about simply being positive or denying the pain. That's a common misconception. Frankl was clear that denying suffering isn't healthy. It's not about putting on a brave face when you feel broken or pretending a devastating loss doesn't hurt. No, it's much deeper than that. Instead, it's about recognizing that between the external event and our response, there is a space. This space, though sometimes tiny and difficult to perceive, is where our true power lies. It's the space where we decide how we'll carry our burden, how we'll interpret our circumstances, and what impact they will have on our spirit. We can't always choose what happens to us, but we can always choose how we react. We can choose to be defined by our circumstances, or we can choose to define our meaning within those circumstances. This profound freedom is what allows for true growth, because it means that our personal development isn't solely dependent on external factors being easy or comfortable. It relies on our inner strength, our deliberate decision to seek meaning, even when that meaning feels deeply buried or completely out of reach. This radical responsibility for our own attitude is the bedrock upon which genuine transformation is built. And it leads us to a unique kind of hope, which Frankl called tragic optimism. Tragic optimism isn't some naive, happy-go-lucky worldview that just ignores pain. Quite the opposite. It's not a superficial cheerfulness that glosses over the tough stuff. Instead, it's a robust and grounded perspective, one that fully acknowledges the painful realities of life. It's the ability to find and affirm meaning in life, despite unavoidable suffering, guilt, and death. It's an optimism that looks reality squarely in the face, acknowledging all its harshness and brutality, and still finds a reason to say yes to life. It's about finding hope and affirmation, even when facing those unavoidable aspects of human existence: suffering, guilt, and the inevitability of death. Frankl said that tragic optimism involves three key things. First, turning suffering into a human achievement and accomplishment. Second, deriving from guilt the opportunity to change oneself for the better. And third, deriving from death an incentive to take responsible action. Let's break this down with some examples. Think of someone who has lost a loved one to a serious illness. The suffering, it's immense. But in tragic optimism, they might transform that suffering into an achievement. Maybe by dedicating themselves to a charity that supports research for that illness, or by creating a foundation in their loved one's name, helping others navigate similar pain. They don't erase the grief. Instead, they build something profoundly meaningful out of it, transforming their personal sorrow into a force for good that extends beyond themselves. Or consider someone who's made a significant mistake, experiencing profound guilt. Instead of letting that guilt consume them, they might use it as a powerful catalyst for self-improvement, making amends, and committing to never repeating that error. That guilt becomes an opportunity for growth and a deeper understanding of their own character. It becomes a powerful lesson, shaping them into a more conscious, responsible, and empathetic person. And finally, the awareness of our own mortality, the fact that life is finite, can be a powerful incentive to live more fully, more purposefully, right now. It can push us to stop procrastinating on our dreams, to express love, and to pursue what truly matters, rather than waiting for a hypothetical someday. The awareness of our limited time can be the ultimate motivator to live authentically, to prioritize our values, and to create the life we truly want today. This kind of optimism is incredibly powerful because it doesn't require life to be easy or perfect. It doesn't deny the existence of struggle or pain. Instead, it integrates suffering, transforming it into a vital component of growth and meaning. It's a robust, resilient optimism that holds firm even when life throws its worst at us. It's an unwavering optimism, a deep conviction that even in the face of despair, there is always a potential for meaning, a choice to find purpose and contribute to something larger than oneself. It acknowledges that pain is real, but it insists that meaning can always be found, and that our human spirit has the capacity to transcend even the direst circumstances. It's a mindset that allows us to not just survive challenges, but to truly thrive because of them. So, what does this all mean for your own growth journey? It means that the challenges you face, the discomfort you try to avoid, and the struggles that make you want to shrink away are not just unfortunate burdens. They are, in fact, precisely the crucibles in which your deepest growth and purpose can be forged. When life throws a significant challenge your way, whether it's a career setback, a relationship crisis, a health issue, or any form of personal adversity, it's a moment of profound truth. It's an opportunity to exercise that unique human freedom, the freedom to choose your attitude. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Frankl's insights compel us to ask, what is this asking of me? What meaning can I find in this struggle? How can I choose to respond to this in a way that aligns with my values and helps me grow? These difficult moments strip away the superficial layers of comfort and external validation we often cling to, compelling us to look deep within ourselves, to discover our true inner resources and what truly sustains our spirit. They reveal our true resilience, creativity, and inner strength, qualities that might remain dormant in times of ease. Just as a muscle needs resistance to grow stronger, our character, our resilience, and our sense of purpose, they're not built in times of ease, but forged and refined in the fires of adversity. Like an oyster transforming an irritating grain of sand into a precious pearl, our most painful experiences, when approached with a conscious search for meaning and a determined attitude, can actually become the most valuable treasures of wisdom and strength in our lives. They are not just unfortunate burdens to endure, but powerful catalysts for truly becoming the strongest, most authentic, and most purposeful version of ourselves. So, as we've journeyed through the powerful insights of Viktor Frankl, we've seen that growth isn't just about stepping outside our comfort zone. It's about facing the storms of life head-on and finding our footing, even when everything feels like it's crumbling. We began by asking why we resist the very challenges meant to help us grow, and Frankl's story, forged in unimaginable suffering, has given us a revolutionary answer. He showed us that our deepest human need isn't for comfort or pleasure, but for meaning. And profoundly, he revealed that this meaning can be found even in the darkest moments of suffering. This truth might seem counterintuitive at first, going against our deeply ingrained instinct to avoid pain and seek comfort. But Frankl proved, through his own life and teachings, that within every challenge, no matter how immense, lies the incredible human freedom to choose our attitude. This isn't about pretending things are okay when they're not. It's about recognizing that you possess an inner strength, a capacity for resilience, and a profound ability to create meaning, even when the world feels chaotic. Your struggles are not punishments. They are invitations to dig deeper, to find courage you didn't know you had, and to forge a purpose that resonates with your core being. They are the raw material for building your deepest purpose and shaping you into the strongest, most resilient version of yourself. Just as the oyster turns irritation into a pearl, you too can transform your hardest moments into your greatest strengths and wisdom. So the next time life throws a challenge your way, instead of shrinking back, remember Frankl's timeless message. Ask yourself, what is this asking of me? How can I choose to respond to this moment in a way that aligns with my deepest values? What meaning can I create from this experience? This conscious choice is where true growth begins. If this exploration of Frankl's insights resonated with you, and you're ready to embrace challenges as pathways to purpose, then I invite you to join our journey. What's a challenge you've faced that, looking back, you now see as a catalyst for your growth? Share your story, your thoughts, or your own insights in the comments below. Let's build a community where we can share our journeys, learn from each other's resilience, and actively transform adversity into profound wisdom. And if you want to continue diving deep into the profound truths of philosophy and psychology, to discover more tools for navigating life's complexities and becoming the most purposeful version of yourself, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Together we can unlock the immense potential hidden within every challenge, truly living a life of purpose and meaning.